Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK. The journey of Louis Rees-Zammit shows us that early success guarantees nothing. And disappointment is simply part of growing up. If you love inspiring sports stories like this, subscribe to the channel and join us on the journey. When I reflect on the journey of Louis Rees-Zammit, I don't see it as just another sports headline. I see it as a mirror, reflecting ambition, expectation, and the sting of disappointment when you're at the top yet still feel you're not enough. Perhaps the moment that made me think the most was when he admitted feeling brought down after not getting game time with the British and Irish Lions. At just 18 years and 70 days old, playing for Gloucester Rugby in the Premiership, he became the youngest player in the club's history. Only months later, he became the youngest to score a hat-trick. Records followed, domestically and across Europe. Then came the call-up to the Wales national rugby union team. And beyond that, selection for the Lions, an honour any rugby player dreams of. If I put myself in that position, I ask, when everything comes so quickly, how would I feel? Would I be calm enough to understand that early success does not guarantee long-term security? On the podcast The Rugby Pod with Dan Bigger, he shared that he was playing the best rugby of his life at the time. He was the top try scorer in that year's Six Nations Championship. Wales were champions. He had form, youth, hunger. And yet, he didn't feature in the Lions test matches, not even a single minute across 3 or 4 weeks.
Here, I feel the collision between expectation and reality. When you're used to starting every game for club and country, being suddenly left out is a psychological shock. It's not a denial of talent, but emotionally, it can feel like one. What makes me think isn't that he felt disappointed, that's human. What makes me think is how he reflected on it nearly 5 years later. A career is too short to dwell on small things, when you need to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture. How many times in life have I focused on one closed door and forgotten that the journey ahead is still wide open? How often have I allowed one decision to shake my confidence in elite sport? Competition is inevitable. But the hardest battle isn't always against others, it's against the feeling of not being fully recognized. He admitted he probably showed his frustration outwardly. I respect that honesty. He didn't craft a perfect image. He didn't pretend to be unshakable. He simply learned to move forward. I ask myself, when I'm not chosen for a project, when I'm not recognized, how do I respond? Do I admit my disappointment? And after that, do I return stronger? An athletic career is short. In a broader sense, so is life. If we keep dwelling on a phase where we were overlooked, we lose the opportunities ahead. That's the first lesson I take. Disappointment is not a stopping point, it's part of growth.
Another aspect that struck me was his positional shift from wing to fullback, number 15. Initially recruited as a winger, he gradually found freedom at fullback. He enjoys the space, the autonomy, the ability to follow the fly half and move freely. I see that as a metaphor. Sometimes the role we're first given isn't where we thrive. But with flexibility and openness, we may discover a better version of ourselves. At fullback, he becomes the first receiver in transition, able to counterattack, create chances, dictate tempo. That's empowerment. In life, am I truly taking initiative? Or am I waiting for someone else to create my opportunity? His mindset with the ball is simple. First, try to score. If not, break the defensive line. If that's not possible, create the best opportunity for a teammate. That thinking impresses me. It's not always about being the one who scores, it's about adding value. Then came the statistics from the 2026 Six Nations, playing every minute, leading with 292 meters from 37 carries, yet scoring no tries. At the same time, criticism over 12 missed tackles. Wales have not won a match since March 2023, and have won only 2 of their last 23 Six Nations games.
Numbers tell a harsh truth, individual form alone cannot rescue a struggling team. In that context, players like Jack Morgan, Rhys Carr, and Louis Rees-Zammit become symbols of hope for a nation. That pressure is immense. When an entire country waits for revival, every mistake is magnified. 12 missed tackles aren't just numbers, they become debates and criticism. If it were me, could I read those comments without letting them erode my confidence? Could I hold both truths at once, 292 impressive attacking meters and clear areas to improve? That's the second lesson. A person is never just a statistic. No one is perfectly complete. The key is to confront weaknesses without denying your own value. In sports, we celebrate glory. But I've realized that the moments of being brought down create depth. Not playing for the Lions forced reflection. Wales' losing streak forces reconsideration. As fans, we cheer when a player bursts into open space. We groan when he misses a tackle. But are we fair? Do we see the full picture, or only the final moment? Fans have the right to expect. But expectation should come with understanding. Behind every play is a human being, with emotions, pressure, and doubt.
This is not a story of failure. It's a story of transition. From breakout young star to a player navigating fiercer competition. From guaranteed starter to the realization that nothing is guaranteed. At 25, he still has many years ahead. He has said he hopes to feature in another Lions tour. It's not a loud declaration, just a quiet, persistent ambition. I ask myself, is my ambition that persistent? When an opportunity passes, do I prepare for the next one, or let regret consume my energy? The lesson I take is this: early success is not the destination, only the beginning. Disappointment is not denial, it's a test. Flexibility can reveal a stronger version of ourselves. And above all, a career, in sport or any field, is too short to waste on bitterness. For fans, the lesson is patience. A national team can go through decline. A player can plateau. Their value cannot be measured in a handful of matches. For all of us, the story reminds me that we will face moments when reality feels harsh. The world doesn't revolve around us, talent doesn't guarantee privilege, and opportunities aren't always repeated. But in that moment, we have a choice: bitterness or growth. I choose growth. When I picture a number 15 standing deep, waiting, observing, then suddenly launching a counterattack, I see a beautiful metaphor for life. Sometimes we step back, accept the quiet, and when the moment arrives, surge forward with everything we've learned. Perhaps Wales haven't yet returned to the golden era. Perhaps victories are still ahead. But this journey, with all its highs and lows, is shaping a generation of players who are deeper, more realistic, and perhaps more resilient. And to me, that is what truly matters most.
Thank you for following Scrum Masters Elite_UK. The journey of Louis Rees-Zammit reminds us that early success guarantees nothing. And disappointment is part of growth, even when wearing the jersey of the British and Irish Lions.